Hi friends, it's Carol from Crinkled Path Journals, and I'm back with my altered cookbook junk journal for my gratitude journaling, and I hope you'll join me today. I like to think that I'm a person who dwells on gratitude on a daily basis, and it really does keep my spirits, my mindset in a joyful frame of mind. I know I have much to be grateful for, but today I am feeling overwhelmed with gratitude. A very few of you know just a tiny bit of what we have been walking through in our family in the last couple months. But I'm going to share with you today as I do this page. In early November, my youngest daughter, who's 25, has been married about a year and a half, has had really bad lower abdominal pain, and she was dismissed a lot by doctors, saying it'll resolve itself. Maybe it's a bladder infection. Here's some antibiotics. A lot of our medical care has gone to email medical care, and so they weren't really seeing her in person or running tests. And as she persisted in following up and letting them know the pain was only getting worse, by Thanksgiving, they had told her, give it 2 more weeks, and then if you are still in a lot of pain, we'll do a CT scan. And both I and her older sister said, no, insist on a CT scan. So just a couple weeks before Christmas, she finally was able to get a CT scan, and then we were waiting for results. And we weren't hearing, and Christmas came and went, and she said, I think it's bad news because they're not telling me before Christmas. And day after Christmas weekend, that Monday, we heard from radiology that she had a large mass in her lower abdomen that was pressing on her bladder, her internal organs. So they referred her to general surgery, then to gyne-oncology surgery, and she had surgery 2 weeks ago. And the results of the mid-surgery pathology were that it was cancer and that they could not identify specifically the type. They didn't feel confident that they had the specific type. So after the pathology, they moved to finishing the surgery by removing some lymph nodes, her right ovary and fallopian tube, and part of the omentum, which is a fat pad. And they sent that all to pathology, closed her up, and we have been caring for her in recovery of her surgery. And through all of this, we have had such support from friends, family, church members, extended church family members, and my YouTube community, who I know some of you are very open about your faith, and I reached out to some of you asking for prayer as well. And I feel grateful for all those prayers, because today we got news this morning from the further pathology that yes, indeed, she had a stage 1C dysgerminoma, which is a type of cancer, and they did not find it in her lymph nodes or the omentum when they removed those. And so it didn't get further than her ovary. They didn't even find it in the fallopian tube. And it is considered curable with chemo. So she will have to go through somewhere between maybe 2 to 4 rounds of chemo is what they're thinking at this point. And it's considered that that is a successful and curable treatment. And my heart is over flooded with gratitude for the community that lifted us up in prayer and for the results of what she has gone through, that it is a good outcome, that we do continue to have hope that she will not have to deal with this again in the future. And I know we all have different beliefs, and so bear with me as I share where I'm coming from. But I truly believe that God cares for us. He wants us to petition when we are afraid and we're faced with scary things. We can come to him in prayer and have conversations and put that in his hands. And I know that there is still miraculous healings that occur. And I know that there are good people who don't win in this lifetime with cancer. And we have, as Christians, an assurance that we are going to win in this life, whether it's here on earth or in heaven. We'll be whole again. For those of us who pray to keep the loved ones we have here on earth and with us, God understands. And I really, truly believe and have faith that even though we don't always understand why one person is healed and one person is not, that God understands on a much bigger level, and we can trust him with that. And it gives me an assurance that the whole time we were praying, that God was going to carry my daughter through healing and carry me through the process of the fear. And if she wasn't healed or wasn't possible to have a bright future to look forward to for her, that he was going to carry me and her husband and everybody who loves her through the grief and walk us through whatever's coming in the future. I have to tell you, my faith has been expanded because I honestly felt this great, overwhelming, ununderstandable peace through this whole thing. I have not exactly been the most with it person as far as keeping up with my journaling. Thankfully, I had journaled ahead and had posted some videos ahead, knowing that we were going to be facing some medical things, and I wanted to have the time to devote directly to her. The one video I tried to do was very bumbling, but you've all had grace with that for me too. And when my mother gave birth to my sister in 1959, she had some kind of ovarian mass, and she was treated by having 90% of both ovaries removed, and she was told she would never have children, and 10 years of no birth control, and I was born. And I was a very big miracle to them. And when my daughter, who had the cancer, was about 5 years old, I was diagnosed with a type of ovarian cancer. I had 4 ladies show up at my house the day of her birthday, and I was getting ready for the party, and they said, "Something's wrong. We felt very strongly to come together and come to you and pray for you what's wrong. And I had not told them, these were 4 ladies from my church, I had not told them about the cancer diagnosis. And they asked me if I thought I would be healed or could be healed if they prayed for me. And I said, absolutely, if it's in God's will, I believe He can heal me. And they knelt down in my living room, and I had had knee surgery just 6 months or so before, or 5 months before, and I was having difficulty kneeling because my knee was painful. And I told them, you know what, I'm gonna kneel, it's gonna be painful, but I feel it's very important to just humble myself, get down and kneel on this floor. And they prayed over me, and I was having some very evident signs that there was trouble, and I won't go into those details, but immediately that stopped, and I opened my eyes after that prayer and realized I was kneeling with no pain. And I wish I could say that my knee was healed immediately in that moment too, but it was not. Again, the understanding of God, what gets healed and what doesn't, I truly just have to trust in His wisdom for my life and understanding. But it doesn't change the fact that we do petition Him, we do pray to Him, we do ask and intercede on behalf of those we love to Him, and He hears and answers those prayers. And I went to the doctor the next week to have my tattoos done for radiation placement, and they could not find my tumor. So when my daughter's surgeon came back to us mid-surgery and said she has cancer, I said right then to my son-in-law's mother, who was there with us, I said, my mom had a miracle around this, I've had a miracle around this, and I am waiting to see what the miracle is for my daughter. And I said the miracle might just be that because of her age and her work, she's still on our medical insurance. So the surgery was completely paid for. I could think that the miracle is that it was caught very early, which I truly believe that's a miracle, because despite her pain, everybody was dismissing her. So it could have got a lot longer before they found it. And it might be that the miracle is she only has to have 1 or 2 chemo treatments and not 4. But I see it all as miracles. And I believe that her and her husband have bonded even deeper in this early time of their marriage through this. I can find so many reasons to be grateful. And I know I have lost probably one of the most God-fearing, kind, loving people in my life to cancer. And I can't explain why they weren't healed despite so many prayers. And I won't know until I get to heaven, when God reveals to me all the things that went on that led that person's life to touch others or change things for others on this earth, as to why He didn't intervene in their situation to change it. But I trust that He knows better than I. He has vast eternal wisdom about these situations, and I'm glad that I don't have to understand entirely, because it's unfathomable. And I know we want to understand, but sometimes, like a little child trusts in their parent to make the good decisions for them, that's how I view allowing God to make these big life decisions for me. And we live on a planet where evil things happen, where sickness, disease, injury, crime, abuse, all these things happen here. And yet we have a loving Father who still wants to be in relationship with us. We have Jesus who wants to walk beside us in our life, and we have the Holy Spirit that comforts our hearts in times like this. And I'm so immensely grateful to tell you today that I have those things, and I have hope that my daughter is going to get past this and live the rest of her life here on earth without the fear of cancer. Thank you for listening today. If you need prayer for healing, please know that I am a person that you can email me or write it in a comment if you don't mind sharing in the comments. But I'll pray for you. I truly believe it's important that part of community is to be a prayer partner with people. And thank you to those of you who did know. I didn't reach out to a lot, but just seemed like the opportunity would come up in a certain exchange back and forth, or something you said in a video prompted me to just give you a little piece of the puzzle, enough that you could pray for us, and I appreciate that so much. And sorry to those of you who it didn't come up, because I know there's so many more of you who would have prayed for us, and thank you for that. And thank you for coming along today as I worked through this and talked through this and got a few things down on the page. I'm going to put my journaling on the back of this little book cover, faux book cover, and finish up here. And I'm excited to talk to you again in the next video. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.